is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be taking this engine out and making room for our brand new Crate Redeye engine that Dodge is sending us that should hopefully be here this week. Now, the engine that this car came with is pretty cool, and I'm still trying to figure out if I want to save it for another project. My biggest thing is I just don't know anything about Mopars. This is a Mopar Big Block 493, has a bunch of custom work done to it. The previous owner said it was shooting for about 800 horsepower, and it is paired with a torque flight transmission that has the PPP air shifter. Anyway, we're gonna start making room for our brand new Redeye that should be here very shortly. Now, the headers that are on this engine are actually pretty freaking cool. You can look right there. They go under here to a decent sized collector. Another cool thing about this setup is that the engine is actually plated. There's no actual engine mounts underneath it. If you look in there, it's a super nice, clean setup. You have this plate in the front right here that has been sealed. And then there's actually another plate back here that the transmission is connected to, and the block as well. Overall, it's a pretty cool setup, but I'm really excited for our Redeye to be here. So let's start making some room. Best friend for removing headers is right here. Off. Now, I don't have a plate to properly pull this engine, so I'm just going to take the carburetor off, strap it from the top here. Should be easy enough. But first, I need to disconnect the transmission, and I've never pulled an auto trans before, so I just got to figure out how to disconnect everything with a torque converter. Should be about the same though. Different bolts in different places. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'm going to try and do all that underneath the car without having to put it on the lift. I always prefer working on cars on the ground. All right, for the transmission, this should actually be pretty simple because we have this super nifty removable transmission cover. So with it off, I can access most of these bolts. I do need to disconnect our PPP air shifter that goes to the linkage right there. Probably put a jack stand right here and then use a regular jack at the front that I can control. And then once this is free from the engine and that engine plate in the back there, really, our engine should be good to go. We're just gonna disconnect the plates and we should have liftoff. The plate in the front is mainly bolted here and here. And then the plate in the rear seems like the main two bolts are here and here. My dad's about to be here as well. My dad's gonna be helping me. He hasn't seen the car yet, and we are a big Dodge family. Dad's always had like Dodge trucks growing up and still has his 1500. That's the SRT 10 version with a Viper engine that still to this day looks brand freaking new. My mom's had Durango. She just got a new one. So anyway, he is a very big Dodge guy, so he was really excited about this project, and he's gonna head over to help me pull the engine. All right, Pops is here. He hates that name. Already got the radiator out, making some space here so that will be clear to lift the engine up. I had to go to the other shop to borrow standard tools, which keeps happening, so I think now with this car, I'm gonna finally have to invest in standard tools, which I want to resist and not have to do, but this will be my first American build, so I guess it makes sense I'm gonna have to get standard tools eventually. So we got the tools that we're gonna need to turn the engine to access all of the bolts that are connecting the engine to the torque converter. So I'm gonna go into here, do all the bolts on the torque converter first and then loosen up all of our other bolts on the outside, connecting the transmission to the plate through to the block. Do I have another 19? Oh my god.
You want me to put my foot on the leg?
No, I got it. Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
We tried.
That's done. Go up. There you go. There she is. Perfect. We're in. All right, the transmission is completely disconnected now, but because the car is on the ground, the transmission can't just roll out yet, especially with that big ol' oil pan on it. So we're just gonna jack up the front of the car and hopefully we can get it high enough so we can roll it out. We got the transmission out. That is definitely probably going to be the hardest part of getting everything out. Just as it's pretty tricky with the car being on the ground, but a little bit of wrestling, and now it's out. So now we can hook up our engine. Probably going to put chain through here. Gotta watch out for it to not hit this, but then just lift it up and get it out. Take off the bracket that was in the front of the car just because it's going to make taking the engine out 10 times easier. So we realized that the plate in the back, this plate is integrated structurally into the actual frame. So I think these are studs that go into the actual frame, which shows you how secure this setup was. Unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to use that plate. That plate was made specifically for this entire setup, so we'll end up having to cut it out. But all we had to do was loosen up the 2 bolts that were on the front plate, and now she's out. Well, disconnected. Now we gotta get it all the way out. All right, the engine is out. And we have so much space. I'm not worried at all about our new Redeye fitting in here. There's a ton of room to work with. The Redeye is a bigger engine, but compared to this, I mean, this is a big block Mopar, and with how high like the carb was gonna be sitting and everything, I think it'll be a similar footprint to the new engine. That is it for this video, just trying to inch away at anything I can really until all of our parts start to show up. I have gotten word though that our new engine should be here in the next few days. We're gonna be picking it up from the power broker that's in Daytona Beach. And until then, we're just gonna continue to get as much stuff as we can done. Thanks, Pops.
You're welcome.
Got it out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.